Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Steel Target Paint Podcast. Of course, I'm Jeff Jones, and my partner in crime is...
Steve Foster. How you doing, Jeff?
Good, Steve. How are you? Good to talk to you again, my friend. How are things been?
Oh, it's been fast and out of control, which is a good thing.
That's a good thing. Well, the last episode, we got some good feedback, talking about new shooters getting into the sport. And, what guns should they buy, and we talked a lot about that. But a lot of people have questions on how to shoot the stages, and I think you're the man to talk to about that.
I don't know about all that, but what I have done, and I use my website as a repository for different articles and helpful hints and whatnot. And I've been working with a lot of new shooters, as well as some experienced shooters, doing some training and that type of thing. And so what I did is I took the opportunity to upload. I'm writing a series for USPSA's magazine, pretty much on just how to shoot Steel Challenge. I think there's some tips in there for some experienced shooters, because I think anytime you're even at the top of the game, focusing on the fundamentals or the basics makes you better. But really the scope is for more people that haven't done a lot of Steel Challenge, or, I was working with a couple of folks here not too long ago that never shot Steel Challenge before. It's like, what do I do and how do I shoot them? And so what I've done is I created a page on my website, stevefostershooting.com, not the Ely website where you buy ammo, because that's stevefostershootingsports.com. So go to stevefostershooting.com, go to menu, and I've posted all 8 stages, just kind of where you can read about it, look at some diagrams and that kind of thing. And then what I did the other day is I made some videos. It's kind of interesting to see how my shooting's progressed in the last 3 years. I think the first video was maybe 4 years ago, and then the most recent one's probably a year and a half or 2 years ago, speed option. But it's interesting over the course of time how my shooting's progressed. But what I did at the time over the couple of years, because I don't think there's a lot of good content out there for shooting Steel Challenge, and I plan to make more, is I've listed a link to my YouTube channel of each of the stages. So if you've never shot Steel Challenge before, or you want to get better, take a look at those videos. But I do plan to do an overhaul of all of them, maybe with some guest appearances by some folks. I know Chris and I have dropped a couple of videos specifically on outer limits, talk a little bit about how we shoot them, a little bit of gear review and that kind of thing. So more to come there, but I figured, hey, let me make a centralized place for people to have access to this information.
Excellent, because you always get people at a match, come up to you, how do you shoot this? I've done the math, and there's only a few, in my estimation, wrong ways to shoot stages. Take, for instance, pendulum. If you number the plates 1, 2, 3, 4 across the back, a wrong way to shoot that would be 1, 4, 2, 3, stop. Basically,
Absolutely.
ping-ponging across the center of the stage. But quite frankly, I've seen just about every other pattern that shoots the 2 on the right and the 2 on the left shot successfully by a lot of people. So to say what is the right way to do it is, I think, wrong. I think I'll be honest with you. Everybody says, oh, you got to shoot 5 to go, 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. And you know what? For probably 99% of the people, I would say that's correct. But I have seen people shoot it backwards and shoot it in under 2 seconds backwards.
Sure.
And so but stages like Pendulum, Smoke and Hope, they're very symmetric. Like I said, outside of ping-ponging, there really isn't a better way to do it. And you have to shoot to your strengths. A lot of people take roundabout. So how do you shoot roundabout?
So that's a great and interesting question, because I just had this exact conversation about this exact stage a couple of weeks ago. And it was, well, Steve, how do you shoot? Well, I shoot it, back, front, because it's the same array twice. It's one in the back, one in the front, and then I transition, mimic a first shot. So I take my time on that back one, and then it's 1-2, 1-2, stop. And the question was, well, what about if you shoot, if we count that 1, 2, 3, 4, how about shooting 1, 2, 4, 3 stop? And I said, for me, based at my skill level, it doesn't matter. But for some people, they just feel comfortable with a different transition. And so I got up there and I shot a 1, 2, 4, 3 stop. And it sounds a little bit different, but you know what? The AMG lab timer didn't lie. It was within .02 or .03 seconds, regardless of which way I shot it in either order. So I think a lot of it is what you feel comfortable with, and that was kind of the discussion we were having on the range, is one of the people that I was working with is a right-handed shooter but left-eye dominant, but has a preference to shoot right to left. So starting on the right-hand side and coming back left with pendulum as an example, and that's one of the stages we shot. And we're doing an exercise shooting the plate rack, and I said, hey, look, as I shot it that way, I said, you know what, if you feel more comfortable shooting it that way, you will be faster.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have less of a hesitation. And so play to your strength. Play to your strengths and shoot it how you think it needs to be shot. But this is meant to give you just a step in the right direction to, because I don't think there's an advantage of shooting plate 2 first on roundabout. I know there's been a couple people that do. Drawn on a close, fast plate like that, I think it's just a tad slower. But, there's many different ways to shoot these stages, and just because everybody shoots it in a certain way doesn't mean it's right or wrong. We've had a conversation recently about pendulum, the same thing. Shooting at 3-4, 1-2 stop, or 1-2, 4-3 stop, or 1-2, 3-4 stop. They're all the same, whatever you feel most comfortable with.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned, do you prefer shooting right to left or left to right? Because that's a question I always ask people I'm training. Some of them don't know, and the plate rack is a perfect tool to go figure that out. How do you like the transition? And it's interesting, and the reason I brought up roundabout is when people ask me, well, how do you shoot this?
Right.
My response is, well, what gun? And they think I shoot it the same for every gun, but I don't. Mm-hmm. Because I like to shoot the rifles 1, 2, 4, 3 stop, if you will.
Right.
Straight across. Okay?
Yep.
And the reason for that is that as a right-handed shooter standing on the right side of the box, when I'm bringing that gun up to my cheek weld, I'm using the cheek weld as the indicator that I'm on target for plate 1.
Yeah.
And then I'm able to just keep the gun level going across, snap back to the middle. But when I shoot the centerfire guns, I go back to my classic, I like to shoot completely left to right. Now, the interesting thing is, what I end up doing is if you stand in the box, the draw on plate 1 or the draw on plate 3 is effectively the same draw. They're at 15 yards. I know the math whizzes out there are going to go, well, plate 1 is actually at 16.2 and plate 3 is at 15.1 because it's not 100% symmetric, but it's close enough.
Right, for sure.
And so I draw on plate 3 and go 3-4 and then transition and then rip down the line 1-2 stop for a center front pistol. Yep. And so I think that's something to consider, our listeners to consider is it all depends on the gun. And quite frankly, whether you're a right-handed or left-handed can make a big difference on how you want to shoot the stage.
Yeah, for sure.
But understanding
we've talked to him a little bit about that before. I think Tom down in Florida has got an advanced shooting speed option because of that first shot,
Absolutely.
I think, yeah.
And I think maybe that's why Grant shoots that 3-4. I'm not sure what he does for the rest of it, but he shoots the quick one first. At least I remember him shooting that.
He used to until a couple months ago.
Oh, has he switched back?
Yeah, I talked to him at the World Speed Shoot. We talked early on. He's like, man, I just feel like I just want to shoot that. Shoot it. If it feels comfortable, shoot it. And over the course of time, and him and as well as Chris shoot that better than I think anybody out there. But they transition the gun so fast, and he felt like his transitions were a little bit quicker going to the plate number 4 first and not really stopping the gun coming through, whereas you have that slight direction change coming up on plate number 3. So that's why he made the move, and seems to be working out all right for him.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't deny a 56 and change or 57 and change at the World Speed Shoot. That was it was one crazy match this year, that's for sure. And I'm looking forward to this year's match. How many guns you shooting this year?
I think I'm only shooting 4 or 5 maybe this year.
Yeah, I'm shooting 5. I shot 8, but that was a little too much. Don't have as much time to spend up there this year, so it's just down to 5, which will still be good. And hopefully there'll be even a bigger vendor area. I really enjoyed that a lot, being able to hang out in the vendor area and meet all the different vendors. And, of course, Brian was there, and Palmetto State, the match sponsor. Who else was there? Chet was there. CWA was there. Titman Arms was there. Of course, that's always fun. Shooting a fully automatic 22 is a hoot.
If that doesn't make you smile, there's something wrong with you. Just saying, Jeff. Calling it how it is. Yeah, there's some hearing protection folks, and I've heard, not my news to share, but I've heard there's at least 1 or 2 other companies that are going to participate now that they've got a better defined vendor area, that are gonna spend the money and time and effort to come down to that match. So it's hopefully this COVID stuff takes a back seat a little bit more than what it's been lately to make sure we don't really negatively impact the shooting season. And look forward to it. Look forward to seeing a lot of people again.
Well, I know you're pretty much focused only on Steel Challenge. I still shoot a little USPSA, and I tell you that discipline is hurting. I don't know what our listeners are experiencing, but we used to run 2 matches a week, every week, and get anywhere from 45 to 52 shooters. And we've actually had to cut down to 1 day a week, and we're lucky to get 40 shooters.
Wow.
Just because people can't get, most people who shoot USPSA, there's a lot that shoot production ammo, but a lot of them load their own. And it's just finding components that's the tough part.
Right. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where all this takes us in the next however long. I've seen some videos out there from some ammo manufacturers. Not sure if they've really helped their case or not, but yeah, hopefully they make more primers and ammo, centerfires specifically, available, because we all know where to get rimfire ammo, Jeff, but the centerfire stuff, hopefully they release some primers so a lot of folks can do some shooting. So, yep.
Yeah, I'm just scanning here at the World Speed Shoot, and it's, I don't want to say it's 100% full because it's not, but it's really close. I mean, even the they've it looks like Zach has done a good job getting the RO signed up on Wednesday, and definitely filling that. I think it looks like with some non-ROs, which would be great.
How many guns are signed up?
It's tough to say right now because the match is on a wait list. So I mean, it's set up to be sold out. Then again, if nobody on the wait list, everybody wants to shoot on Saturday and Sunday. You can't blame them. But when you look here, there are no spots open on Saturday or Sunday. It's full. Maybe 1 or 2. I take that back as I'm scanning here. I'm seeing a Sunday morning spot open, but again, that's got to go to somebody on the wait list.
Yeah.
So something else, we talked about, I want to raise this, we talked a little bit about it, and I'm just going to bring it up to everybody. Was practicing Showdown the other week, and maybe I need to read your How I Shoot Showdown. I don't know if that's going to help with that, with getting me faster.
You did well.
But, the one thing that was happening to me was I was over driving my first plate. So from the left side,
sure.
Shooting plate 1, from the right side, shooting plate 4. And what I ended up doing was, instead of getting a perfect grip on the gun and sight picture, dead center in the reticle, dead center in the plate, to get my position, was I actually shifted it so the reticle, the dot in the reticle, was in the lower part of the reticle, basically shifting the buttstock up on my shoulder just a little bit. And it made a big difference for the gun coming up and staying level. And, we talked a little bit about that. And so, have you ever experienced that? We'll share that with the listening audience. How you fix overdriving a plate? Is it just, for you, I've got to stay focused and make sure I'm not overdriving? Is it muscle memory, or do you make gun adjustments?
Well, I think that there's a couple things that I do. Is I actually have my dot a little bit further back on my, let's talk about rimfire rifle open as an example. Same thing with PCC. I don't have it all the way forward on the rail or on the receiver. I have it about midway, and what that allows me to do, because I shoot a Vortex Razor 6 MOA, which is a fantastic dot, but it has a little bit smaller window, so as I bring the dot closer to me, visually the window looks bigger, and so that's one of the main reasons why I do that. So I try to get up on the stock as much as possible, and that's one of the things that a lot of people, me and somebody else were talking about this very thing 2 nights ago, talking about, wood stocks versus the chassis and so on and so forth.
That was me. That was you and me.
Well, I had the same conversation with somebody else, Kurt Grimes, so I'm not going to mention any names. But we were talking about, painting and lasering and stuff like that, and just talked about, the adjustability of a chassis compared to a regular stock. But to have a stock that fits you is extremely important, because you want to get a good cheek weld. You want everything to move as like a turret. That's the analogy that Matt Gallagher and I used several months ago. He's like, talking about accelerators. No, your upper body's got to move like it's on a turret. You can't get what I call handsy, where your hands are out in front of you and your hands are moving the gun and driving the gun. That's not how it works. It's really the center part of your body that's driving the gun, and your hands just kind of lock everything in place. And so to make sure you have a good fit with your setup, whether it's the stock or the optic and see all the above, is you need to make sure that you're really moving as a turret and not driving the guns with your hands. Because if you start driving your guns with your hands too much, the dot's not where you expect it to be when you're ready to pull the trigger on a target. So as I'm transitioning from plate 1 to plate 2 on Showdown, or whatever set of targets or whatever stage, is that if I stay as a turret, the dot is always going to be square straight in the middle of the optic and right on the target when I expect it to be there. Because, if you shoot Steel Challenge a fair amount, you don't necessarily need to look where the gun is going to take you, because the general proximity, or use your peripheral vision to pick up where the dot's going to be. But it's really key to move your upper body, or keep your upper body locked with a little assisting from your lower body to transition the gun. But if you get what I call handsy, not in the high school kind of term handsy, Jeff, I think you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
But yeah, you got to keep everything locked, and that helps keep the gun there. And then, I wrote an article about the Foster effect, because it's the same thing is where you get that, where your fundamentals break down, because you got that panic in the back of your head where everything just starts to, you don't feel like you're ever shooting fast enough, and you get that kind of like spastic type shooting. No, you gotta be calm and keep the gun flat and transition the gun, and you'll be surprised or amazed how clearly you will see the dot and how low your times will get. And
well, you raise
a lot of us. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
I was going to say your concept that you brought up, the Foster effect, and that I can remember being at a match and shooting with a friend, and he said, "Man, I just tanked Roundabout. I'm going to have to get that time back on Smoke and Hope." And I looked at him and I said, "You are about to crash and burn on Smoke and Hope as well." And the thought process there was that if you could have shot Smoke and Hope faster, if you think now you can shoot Smoke and Hope faster to get time back from Roundabout or any other stage, why weren't you shooting it that fast to begin with?
Yeah, for sure.
You have to.
And then we do steel challenge. We do steel challenge math, right? Yeah. Oh, I got a 175. If I do that 4 times, that's 7 sets. No. It's okay. You may have got lucky. You didn't have your eye on the dot. You pulled the trigger and just happened to hit plate 2 on accelerator. Okay, you got away with one. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that you're going to hit the Powerball and that's going to happen every single time you shoot a stage.
Yep.
And we all get in those habits. I don't know if you and I talking about it recently, but I got into a bad habit recently with accelerator. For some reason, I always want to shoot plate 3, so I shoot 1, 2, and then I've literally been point shooting plate number 4 on accelerator and taking my eyes off the dot, getting ready to move it to plate number 3. That is so dangerous to do. I've had a fair level of success, but I missed it once. I went, well, why'd that happen? I went, oh, my goodness. Have I really been point shooting plate number 4? I mean, that plate's out, what, a 20-something yard, 20 yards
It's
maybe?
20 yards, yeah.
Yeah, and it's, on the diagonal, so it's probably 25 yards away from you. So why are you point shooting that plate? Oh, and it's you really got to, I just telling you how it is. But you got to keep those fundamentals. And there's a couple people that I've talked about this with recently when we're talking about training situations, so on and so forth. You talked about tanking a stage. The number one thing you can do to build confidence while shooting is hit stuff. And what I mean by that is that you got to dial that targeted edge dial back and go 1 for 1. Yep. I don't care how slow you think it is. It don't matter. It does not matter how slow you think you're going to shoot. Say you want to try to shoot 65% because something in the back of your head says, no, Steve, you want to go fast, go faster, go fast. But a lot of us, we have to fight that, especially if a lot of the promising good shooters have the same issue I do. I never feel like I'm shooting fast enough. And so I try to push it, and then I end up actually shooting faster than what I'm intending, and that's when my funnel starts breaking down, and you go over the edge and you start missing stuff. But if you have a rough stage, the best way, everybody listen to what I'm telling you, the best way to build confidence is to dial that thing back down, go 1 for 1, and then just start dialing it up throughout the set of strings. And you will build confidence because now you're back in control, whereas when you had your dumpster fire, and I need to probably get you out my dumpster fire coin I just made. Did you see that, Jeff?
I did.
That's awesome. So I'll have it with me at my next match. I'm going to toss you the dumpster fire coin. But that's the best way to get yourself back in control because you lost complete control. And people say, well, it's not as fast, it's not as fast. Oh, no. I've beat a lot of people in Steel Challenge over the last 5-6 years because I was just more consistent than them. I'm not as fast as them, and some people think I am, but I'm not. But I'll beat them with consistency.
Well, you do a lot of training, I do a lot of training, and I couldn't agree with you more. So many times, or even in a match, you're at a level 1 match, and you just see somebody just having that dumpster fire run. And you just look at him and you say, take a deep breath, just go 1 for 1. And you see them, they'll go out there and they'll do that. And they look at me and I'm like, how did you know? It's like, all I did was take your mind off of what just happened. Because you can't change it. Sure. You can't make up time on the next stage. You can't change what you shot yesterday. You can't change what the string you just shot. And if you shot it bad, you have to step back, like you say, and focus and get a solid run in. Because
Right.
solid runs, as you've pointed out, can win you matches.
For sure.
You're not going to win a match by missing. It's just that simple. If you miss, you will not. If you miss a lot, you're gonna lose.
Yeah. For sure.
And it is so much. There is so much of a mental game of just, and you can get into the psychology of it all, but your whole concept of first string, 85%. Next string, step it up. Next string, step it up. And I always tell people, if you're shooting, I think it's very important that people understand what their personal best average string time is when they go to shoot a stage.
Right.
Okay. Now, you don't have to do the math and go, was I 85%? Was I 87%? It's a relative thing. So let's just say, for sake of argument, your average string on Showdown is 2 seconds. If you get up there and you throw a 179, do not try to get faster.
Yeah.
You put a good string down. I'm not going to say you got lucky, because that 179 it's relatively close, but that's 10% faster than a 2. Just keep shooting 179s. You're going to walk away with a personal best.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, okay, if you keep shooting 179s, and of course, I'll never forget, we've talked about it, the whole, I put 4 great strings in. I think they were all in the 1.6, 1.7 range on Smoke and Hope at the Georgia match.
Yep.
And I looked at you, and I said, are you going to say it? And you went, watch this. And I said, hold my beer. And I threw like a 1-3 with 3 misses.
Yeah.
And what it turned out to be was a waste of 5 shots of ammo. It didn't help me a bit. If I'd have just taken that worst string out of those 4 and decreased it by just a little bit, it would have bettered the stage. It would have bettered what I had. So yeah, there's a lot of mental preparation and mental preparedness, and then mental execution during a match.
Oh, 100%. I think once you get past your gear and your ammo, make sure you got the right ammo, you got the right gear, and it's set up for you. Once you get that past you, there is technique, don't get me wrong, but when it comes match time, it's 99% of mental activity. That's all it is. It really is.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, and I've had matches where I've just, I should have gotten 10 dumpster coins. Where, I just completely lost mental focus. And, I was very fortunate last year in the senior division, and it was all about mental. It was all just, I'm not going to be the fastest guy, but I can be one of the fastest old guys.
Yep.
And I'd open up my, I get up there, I'm shooting PCCI, and I've got, one of the Steel Challenge mag pouches, and I opened it up, and there was a note right there. Every time I opened it up, I read that note, and all that note said was, what's your goal? And it just reminded me, what are you here for?
Yep.
Are you here to shoot 195 rounds? Are you here to talk with friends? Are you here to compete? And it's amazing what that stuff can do in helping you stay, keep your mental prep.
Yeah, and we talked about it before. I mean, in all of us have different reasons why we shoot. A lot of us like the competitive side. A lot of us like the family side. A lot of us like so on and so forth. And it's okay not to come in first place. It's okay to be first place in C class and be proud of that. That's why there's a classification system.
Yep.
but there's a lot of people. There's a lot of reasons why a lot of us love shooting, and I do like the competition side, but I also really love the people side and getting people into shooting and helping them and that type of thing. So I really enjoy it.
Oh.
But back to the coin real quick, because I'm not sure, Jeff, if everybody knows what the heck we're talking about.
Okay, explain that to them.
So I had this harebrained idea. You know, we talked a little bit about I've got a laser engraver and all that kind of stuff. And I said, because I've had requests to make like challenge coins. Somebody just posted a titanium coin that I did for them. But I always had this idea, you know, talking about dumpster fire, because we all know what the heck that is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, you know what? Let's make a challenge-style coin. I think they're 41 millimeters and 4 millimeters thick, 41 millimeters in diameter. And so on one side, there's a stage win with a trophy, and on the back side, there's actually a picture of a dumpster fire. So my intent with that is that you can razz your buddies and toss them a coin and say, hey, do you want to flip to see what you're going to do or what? And it's kind of funny. I put it out there here a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, and I've had a few people reach out to me that have had custom coins done with team logos and that type of thing. So, yeah, so if you're interested in one, let me know. But it's, yeah, just trying to have fun at the range. You know what I mean, Jeff?
Oh, it is still fun. You know, we've said it 100 times. Yes, it's a sport. Yes, you be competitive, but it's a game. Yeah. It's a game. And we're going to spend a lot more money than you're going to make at it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So if you're not enjoying it, why are you doing it?
Yep. So 100% agree.
Well, you know, I will share with you that, you know, every time I go to the range now, you know, in the shooting van right there on the ledge is my Steve Foster official vial of range dirt. And as I get out of the van, I touch that every time just to, you know, any kind of good mojo I can take from that when I'm going to either shoot a match or practice. I've got that with me. So.
And that's why you called me and said you're shooting some 1.4s, 1.5s on Showdown. It's because of the hollow ground that you were touching, Jeff.
You know what? I'll give you all the credit. I don't care as long as it goes into my score.
That's awesome.
Good stuff. Well, we got. I just booked my room for the Georgia match. Looking forward to that. It's all sold out on Sunday, and it's slowly filling up for a lot of the other slots. It's going to be a full match here.
Yeah, I look forward to that. I guess there's a Florida match here this weekend. I won't be able to go to that.
Yeah, the Florida State match is this weekend. I have to pass. We're actually going to run a local match, so I have responsibilities at the club to do that. But yeah, let's just see.
Check out scsa.org. There's a lot. I was looking a couple days ago. There's a lot of matches popping up out on the calendar. I mean, if you want to shoot 15 major matches this year, you could do that right now by signing up. So there's a lot of big matches.
Yeah, I think
a lot of big matches out there, which is good.
I think, you know, I haven't heard of this year steel challenge matches. I think people still have ammo to be able to shoot that. Yeah,
because you know, we've talked about that before. A lot of it is rimfire. I mean, well over half the match is rimfire, if not 75, 85%.
Yeah, you've got what I think in the past 3 years at the Worlds. Well, of course, one of them is a centerfire PCCO, but if you take PCCO, RFPO, and RFRO, that's half your match right there.
Yeah,
half your match right there. And looking at Jamie's match, let's see, the official name is the South Georgia Steel Challenge Championships. You know, your top division is Rimfire Rifle Open. 67 shooters right now. Slightly behind that, Rimfire Pistol Open with 45. And right behind that, PCC optics with 40.
Dang.
And then, your next two divisions after that are rifle irons at 26 and pistol irons at 25. So, yeah, I mean, those are your top 6 divisions.
While we were talking, Jeff, I just got a text from Jamie. He said Pro Rear shipment came in for the match, so a lot of sponsors stepping up to support that South Georgia match, which is great.
Nice.
Absolutely great to see. Again, if anybody has a company that wants some advertising, please reach out to myself, and we'll get you signed up.
Sounds good. Well, Steve, it's always good talking with you. We said we were going to do this one a little shorter. I think we should cut it off right here, and we'll think of our next topics for our next podcast. What do you think?
Sounds good. Oh, hey, Jeff, I can't really talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. How's that sound?
This is your MO. I can't say anything, but let's hear it. Drop the mini bomb.
I can't. Well, let's just say that I've got a company that reached out to me, and we're working together, and I've got a prototype sitting at my house that could make the range experience maybe a little bit quicker, more efficient for a 1022. And I'm going to leave it at that, Jeff. We'll leave it at that.
Okay. I mean, you said 1022. I was gonna take a guess at what it was, but that was not what I was going to guess. So. No. I'm sure I know I am, and I'm sure our listeners are excited to hear what you've got to share when you're allowed to share it.
Yeah, hopefully it works out the way that we think it's going to work out, and man, it could change my range time just a little bit, which is a good thing.
All right,
but more to come on that, Jeff. More to come on that.
keep them wanting more, right, Steve? Make them want to come back.
Absolutely.
I love it. That's awesome.
All
right, everybody. Well, thanks for listening. Hey, Steve, give them that Steel Target Paint podcast code for the rangestore.net.
Yeah, ST Podcast 10 for 10% off everything at rangestore.net.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.